Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new stash layout, and I'm going to be using some of the Studio Calico print shop collection for this. I had this paper pad. As you can see, I have used several pages of it over the years, and I didn't throw anything away. I've cut into some of these. I've die cut into some of these with my Cameo. And it's just a collection of random papers, and I really love this paper here. For some reason, before I even pulled this off my shelves, I remembered this paper, and there were 2 copies of each of the pattern papers in this paper pad, and so I have 2 copies of it, but I wanted to use it. It just looked very artsy and watercolory, and I loved the colors on it, and I wanted to use a lot of pattern paper on this collection, and I'm going to use this black and white picture of Paige in the pool, and so I wanted some black and white elements on the background, and I found this paper, which is black and white with little tiny grid crisscross lines on it, and I'm going to make these 2 papers work together. And this layout, I worked on it over the course of, I think, 4 days. So I worked on it a little bit one day and then would take a break. The kids were home this week for Thanksgiving break, and so I just kind of took my time and worked on it a little bit here and there, and I really love how it turned out. And I wound up pulling in lots of different things to go on this layout because I didn't have any embellishments with this paper pad, the print shop. It was just the paper pad that I have, and so I had to pull some other things to make, embellishments and everything for it. But I just tore that really colorful paper and I attached it to the black and white, and this is going to be my background. It's kind of random and kind of different, and to me that's just part of the fun of doing a stash layout. You can kind of just do whatever you want. I don't have any design team requirements. I can just kind of do whatever comes to mind, and it's fun because an idea that I have will totally change and I'll wind up doing something else, and it just kind of takes all kind of twists and turns, and I just think that's fun. So anyway, this is white gesso, and I'm just going to kind of white out a lot of the black and white paper because I'm going to add lots of mixed media on top of it, and I kind of want it to just give me some white space there. It's going to make the photo stand out a little bit more. And yeah, it's just going to prep the papers for me to add some liquid to it because these are just really thin pattern papers. And so if I start adding a lot of liquid and paint right on top of it, it's just going to soak right through and probably tear a hole in the paper. But the gesso prepares the paper for this kind of stuff. So I wanted to add in some blue. These are my 3 favorite colors to work with: pink, yellow, and blue. And so I just mixed in some cheap light blue, almost kind of like a light aqua turquoisey color acrylic paint, and it's just those little craft bottles of paint. You can get those at Walmart or Michael's, and I added in a little bit of Shimmer's Jenny B blue, and then I'm just kind of making a messy square here. I'm scraping it on with my palette knife, and then I'm going to come back over with some plastic packaging to add a little bit more of the liquid there. And I just wanted to create sort of a blue frame or an outline behind where my photo is going to go. And I made it bigger than my photo because obviously I want it to show around the edges. And like I said, this is going to undergo lots of changes from start to finish. And this video is a little bit longer than I normally do, but I didn't want to cut out, the process and how one layout can take me over the course of 4 days to make. And this is just how it goes. So I wanted to keep as much in as I could. So this is kind of where my photo is going to go, and I've already got the blue paint down there, and so I can't take that up, and so that's where the photo is going to be. And I did add a little bit of tissue paper behind there. I just folded it a couple times and then stapled it, and that's going to start my layering behind the photo there. And I like it to be kind of crooked. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Obviously, nothing on this layout is going to wind up being straight because I like things at an angle, and I like to do that on purpose because I just like things looking kind of haphazard and messy. Except for my journaling. I do like to have the journaling straight, but that comes at the end. So I'm going to add in some more colors here, and these are shimmers. I'm going to add in some pinks, some yellows, and some of this I'm just going to spray directly onto the page. I'm going to add a little bit of water. I'm going to use my brush. I'm going to splatter. I pulled out this deeper pink color here. It's called Quit Your Whinin', and it's basically the color of a deep wine, and it's really, really pretty. And when I mix it with the cotton candy spritz, it's going to really, really pull the color from the pattern paper over to that side of the layout. And so I'm just kind of making a mess here. I'm spraying, I'm dabbing, I'm adding water, I'm letting the paint run, dabbing it up with a napkin there or my paper towels, and just playing around. It's fun to just kind of play. And you can kind of see here how the gesso works. I was able to roll my paper towel over all of that pink and wine colored liquid, and it dabbed a lot of it up, and so the gesso allows that to happen. So your liquid or your paint, it's not going to dry right away. You're going to have some time to blend it or dab it up, and it's going to get a lot lighter, and in some cases you can just wipe it completely away if you work fast enough. And so yeah, that's the beauty and the magic of gesso, and it allows you to do things like this, smudge it and pull it. It's going to allow you to blend colors a lot easier. And you can see here how it's not tearing the paper, and I'm not getting a lot of warping. Yeah, it's working really well. So I just play around a lot here with the inks. I splatter, I scrape, I use my brush, just a little bit of everything there. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I wanted a layer of pink behind my picture, and I did not have any paper right here in front of me that matched, and so I'm just going to make my own. I'm going to add in a couple of the shimmers colors that I used on the background and just spray this square of paper here. It's just white cardstock, and I'm going to use that as a layer. So when all else fails, just make your own paper, because I'm sure somewhere in the sea of scrapbooking stuff that I have in this room, I probably have a pattern paper that looks like that pink paper, but I'm not going to spend hours searching for it because, yeah, there's no telling where it would be. So I'm just going to make my own and call it a day. And then the black and white, the polka dots there, that's from a little bag. I don't even know what I got in that bag, but something that I ordered at some point came in that black and white bag. And I thought, there's no way I'm throwing that away. I'm going to use it one day. So I put it in my little stash bin here on my desk, and it makes a perfect layer. Makes a perfect little pattern paper there. And so I'm going to use that as a layer with that pink paper that I just sprayed. And then I pulled out some of my old school wooden stamps. I love this stamp here. It's some sketchy lines, and this layout kind of turns into kind of a grungy summer layout. I just kind of wanted some black and white messy looking something on the background there, and those stripes or lines are kind of, they're messy on the stamp. They're meant to be kind of broken and sketchy, and I like how that looks kind of peeking out from behind the photo. Now this here is just black cheap acrylic craft paint, and it's perfect for making really big splatters. You just water it down and get your brush real watery and hold your brush up high, and then just squeeze the bristles until a big plop splatters down, and it's great. Here's another one of my cheapy wooden stamps. I think I got that at Michael's in the dollar spot, and it's this really fun, open, thin flower. So I'm just going to stamp that around a few times to add to the background. And then I let everything dry, and I went kind of crazy with my sewing machine and some black thread, and I decided to kind of do a really big, messy stitch around the blue square. So I went through some more stuff. This is from a Hip Kit Club kit. Well, some of this is. And then I picked out a couple things from the Basic Gray Highline collection. There you can see it right there. I don't even know how many years old this one is, but I love the really bold pinks and yellows and blacks in this kit, or in this collection. And I've got some chipboard from it. And then over on the left, I've got some Vicky Bouton pieces and some crepe paper Good Vibes. And actually some florals that I've fussy cut from a paper from a hip kit, all kinds of stuff. I just kind of went through basically stuff that's at my feet underneath my desk at the moment. I don't even know what month hip kit that is, but it's not too old, because the Good Vibes from crepe paper isn't that old, I don't think. That little blue piece is part of a Project Life card from the Hip Kit Club that I've already cut off the edges on. You can't even read what it says anymore. And I just want a little pop of blue over there on the right. So I'm going to use just a bit of that card. I don't even care what it says. I'm not using it for what it says. So yeah, I'm just kind of playing around here. I'm layering in some flowers, some die cuts, some stickers, and I've got the Good Vibes sticker sheet. I'm basically looking for anything that is yellow or that lighter pink or that deeper wine colored pink or blue, and just kind of seeing where I can put things and seeing how it looks. I'm not sticking anything down yet. I really love that Yeah piece. That's a chipboard piece from the Basic Gray Highline chipboard. There's a couple of chipboard sheets in that collection. I think I bought that back in the day when I was still on the My Scraps and More design team. It was an online store, and it's been closed for a couple years now, so that collection's not new, which Basic Gray isn't even in business anymore as far as scrapbooking supplies go. So I just can't part with things. I just always tell myself, don't throw this away. You're going to use it one day. And I'm sure you guys all know exactly what I'm talking about. And so that's why I really love when I have time to do these stash videos, because it makes me feel accomplished. It makes me feel like I'm not wasting all this stuff that I've been hoarding for years, and I'm finally using it. Now I'm going to use that little pom-pom frame. That is from Crate Paper, and I'm just going to use the tip edge of it there over on the right so you can see it kind of peeking out. And then to raise the rest of the photo up, you saw me add a couple of layers of adhesive foam under there. And then that little flower with the polka dots on it that I layered on top of the picture, it was like the perfect shape to fit right into where her shoulder is, and then her neck and the way her head is tilted to the way she's looking. The flower fit perfectly right in the little nook there. Sometimes that just happens perfectly, and I don't even plan that, but it just happened. So I'm like, that's where that flower is going to go. Still playing around here. I've got, let's see, what did I do? I cut that giant dark pink Vicky Bouton flower in half because it was so big and I only wanted the edges of it to show. So I'm going to use the other half of it over on the right, and I'm going to create a little cluster. And also going to put in some thread, of course. You know I love my thread. That is a light blue color. It's going to be the same color as that Project Life piece, or Project Life card, piece of a card over on the right. And I'm going to start to glue things down. I haven't glued the picture down, but that's where it's going to go. And I hadn't even really planned on making this look kind of grungy, but it just sort of happened. And like I said, I get an idea and I try something and I love how it looks, and so I just go with it. And you know, I knew I wanted this to be bright, and I did want to add pops of black mixed in with all these bright colors, but you know, I didn't really think about doing the stamping on the background until I took a break and came back the next day, and I thought, I'm going to use up some of my stamps. They're a part of my stash. And yeah, I have an entire bin of wooden stamps. I don't even remember the last time I bought a wooden stamp. But yeah, I hate to throw those away because you never know when they're going to be the perfect thing for your project. So I added some adhesive foam behind that big Yeah piece, and then I thought I gotta have the word summer on here. It's a summer layout. These are from that same Hip Kit. I believe these are some Vicky Bouton thickers, and they're not that old, but I'm still going to use them. And then I think this Good Vibes piece is from Pink Fresh Studio. I'm going to cut the big white area off of it and then glue that to summer. So it's just going to be yeah summer vibes. And I know that really doesn't make sense, but I like the yeah. I just thought it matched perfectly, and I like that it's different, and I like that you could punch out the letters and use those and use the piece that you punched them out from. I just like the way that looks. And so I had the thickers, I had the word vibes, so I just made it work. And to me, that's part of the fun of it, is trying to, you know, mix and match your title and come up with something that you can use from what you already have, and you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to come up with the title. And I know I say this a lot, but sometimes I start with a title in mind, And then sometimes the title it's not that big of a deal. You know, it doesn't have to be some deep thought out quote. It could be something simple like this. Now to make summer stand out a little bit more, I'm going to use my white Jelly Roll pen just to kind of outline some of those letters, and it's going to make it stand out just a little bit more. And then off camera, I did some stitching there on the side with some black thread, just kind of messy back and forth to kind of mimic the frame. And then I decided I needed a little bit more blue, because do you remember in the beginning when I scraped on the blue paint? Well, obviously, the more I've been working on this, the more it got covered up. And so I'm coming back in with the paint and the Jenny B blue and adding some more paint areas kind of around the photo, and then adding more splatters. And that's just the nature of, you know, layering, is things get covered up, and I like to go back and make sure you can see it, because, you know, what's the point of doing it if you can't see it? But things do get covered up, and I kept finding things that matched, and I kept wanting to add stuff, and so I finally just had to stop. But I'm still going at this point. These are some Pink Fresh Studio little puffy hearts. I got those in a hip kit. I can't remember which one, but I'm going to use some of the pink ones and some of the blue ones. And then this is a random sticker. I don't even use it, but it's from I think it's a me and my Big Ideas stickers from Michaels. And then I've had these sticker books from Michaels. They're also Me and My Big Ideas. They're black and white clear stickers, totally random, generic phrases that you could use on anything. I keep them right on my desk because I never know when they're going to go with a project, but I'm going to use a couple of those here and there. And they kind of resemble stamps. They kind of look like stamps, but they're just clear stickers. And so they're fun and quick and easy to add. And here's what I was talking about. I just keep adding things. This is rare for me to add this many things, I think, but I just couldn't stop. More clear stickers. I try a couple more. I do add one more beneath the photo that matches the same font as that one that says Today up top. And then I'm almost finished, I promise. I'm going to add in my journaling lines. I did want those to be straight. And then I'm going to use my black Sharpie. That's just a black Sharpie fine tip pen there. And that's the final layout. I really enjoyed making this. I think it was fun to just dig through my stash and kind of mix and match and find things that were just laying around. But I really love that I started with that Studio Calico pink and yellow blocky paper. It's just so fun and so pretty, and it just sort of inspired the rest of the color scheme and the rest of the page. And who says you can't have a grungy summer layout, right? I had fun putting it together. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some ideas to try maybe on your next layout. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great weekend.